everyone. Lisa Haven here, and I've got a very important report to share with you guys, and one that I'm going to ask you to share with your friends and family members. But before I get into it, I want to remind you, please make sure you're still subscribed to the channel here. YouTube likes to remove people periodically, so please make sure you're still subscribed. And if you're not subscribed, check it out, and also please make sure you have that bell checked. Otherwise, you're not going to get notifications. But with that, there is literal chaos breaking out all across the globe. I'm talking about in Cuba, to South Africa, to France, to Greece, to Beirut, and over in China, there's actually a bunch of Christian churches that are being burned. The bottom line is, I feel as if we're heading into some kind of planned chaotic event. I mean, after the whole pandemic broke out, it's as if chaos just exploded everywhere, and not to mention the economic devastation on top of it all. So I've got a lot of things that I want to talk about. But let's first start with what's happening in Cuba. For that, check out this first article here. And this is on msnnews.com. Thousands are protesting, dozens are dead, one has died. What we know about Cuba's protest. Now, let me just pause right there. Right now in Cuba, the people are literally taking to the streets, holding Cuban flags and the American flag, and they're literally screaming in the streets, freedom, freedom, freedom. They are protesting the communist regime there in Cuba, and they've had enough of it. And they're literally using our flag as a symbol of freedom. Let me show you this article on foxnews.com. Here it is. Fox News, Cubans are protesting communism with the American flag because it's a symbol of freedom, says Representative Gimenez. Meanwhile, while they're holding up our flag that stands for freedom, the government there is trying to hide the information about what's going on. They don't want to know. They don't want anybody to know that there's an uprising against communism, which I've been warning about for years, but it's Breitbart.com. Cuba shuts down the internet to silence the citizens and hide the ongoing protest. Don't they always do that? They always want to push the information under the rug and keep it from the people. But the truth of the matter is, they are standing in the streets, hoping and praying, and please pray for our brothers and sisters in Cuba. They are wanting freedom and asking for freedom. Meanwhile, over here in the good old-fashioned United States of America, Jen Psaki and the Biden administration refuse to admit that they're in the street standing against communism. Here's that article here. And this is on Breitbart.com. Watch as Biden White House refuses to say Cubans are opposing communism. And it's not just Biden and his administration. Take a look at this. Foxnews.com, AOC is silent as DSA appears to back Cuba's and Democrat Socialists of America. That's what DSA is. So DSA, Democrat Socialists of America, appears to back Cuba's communist regime over the protesters. Now, why would the Democrat Socialists of America do that? Because they're socialists, and socialism leads to communism 90-some-odd% of the time. That's where you're headed. That's why they're backing, or appeared to back, the communist regime rather than the people asking for freedom. And it's not just AOC. Here we have the FloridianPress.com, and its progressive Democrats continue to remain dead silent on Cuban protests rallying against a communist regime, because it's kind of going to mess up their entire sermon about how good socialism, aka communism, is. And then we have here, of course, Black Lives Matter is jumping in on the fact. Foxnews.com, BLM blames United States, praises the Cuban regime as social media erupts. And they did this because they put out a statement on, here we go, Instagram here. Here's the statement where they're condemning the United States government for the issue, and basically backing the regime, the communist regime. The good news is they got a lot of backlash for that, right? But the bottom line is, they're literally silent on the atrocities happening to Cuba. But that's not all. Here's a little kicker as well that I want you to see. It's kind of a hypocritical, right? Here it is. MSN News or BusinessInsider.com. Biden's Department of Homeland Security chief warned Cuban and Haitian migrants, don't you dare enter the United States of America. If you take to the seas, you will not come. So let me get this straight. Under Biden's regime, The borders are open for only certain immigrants? You mean more Democrats supporting immigrants, but people who are trying to expose communism and coming from a communist regime, they're not welcome in the United States of America. He closes the door to them. Isn't that ironic? I thought he was all about illegal immigrants coming to the United States of America. Suddenly he closes the door on the ones that are more Republican in nature. Do you see the real? I feel like there's an alternative motive here. And if you get my drift on that one. But you know what? It's not just Cuba that's breaking out in chaos. And the political arm, the politics that are being played in the U.S., unfortunately, with what's going on in Cuba. But chaos is breaking out everywhere. Everywhere. It's almost as if it's not necessarily planned. It's almost as if, why is all of this going on at the same time? And we have to think deeper agenda. Let's go to what's going on in Beirut. And here we have TheGuardian.com. Police fire tear gas at protesters outside interior minister's home in Beirut. And they've got a video there. Then we have MSN or Al Jazeera. Lebanese riot police clash with families of Beirut and blast victims. And it's not just Beirut and Cuba. Let's go on over to what's happening in Greece. APnews.com. Plan to vaccinate teenagers triggers large protests in Greece. And here's some pictures, and I'm just going to kind of flash through some of these. You can see the massive crowd. It looks like tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people there marching in Greece. Here's some more images here. You can see all the people in the streets just preparing and standing with this protest. So that's happening over in Greece. That's not the only place. Let's hop on over to Paris, France. NewYorkPost.com. Protest in France against COVID-19 health pass rule. Here is some images there of what's going on in our brothers and sisters there in Paris. And not only that, South Africa has a whole other realm of chaos. We know for many years there was a battle. We have certain groups, if you will, attacking the white farmers there. But here we have the Wall Street Journal. What is happening in South Africa? Riots are breaking out after President Jacob Zuma's arrest, and there are protests over jailing of former leaders have spiraled into unrest and looting that has interrupted transportation amid record COVID-19 outbreak. Then we have food and fuel shortages. This is on businessmaverick.com. Loom in South Africa after logistic networks is wrecked by riot. Then we have abcnews.com, South Africa, as a result of everything that's going on. And they're saying that the country is basically being destabilized. It's being broke down as like anarchy kind of stuff. But South Africa deploys 25,000 troops to end the week of rioting. So they're basically deploying everything they got to try to stop what's going on there in Africa. That's not all. Let's go on over to Canada, because I think should also be included. FoxNews.com. Churches are burned to the ground in Canada. An anti-church hate crime wave. We have to ask ourselves why we think something like that is happening in our sister country, if you will, Canada. And that's because the mainstream media has been bashing Christians for a good 20, 30 years. And now we have a hate wave against Christians. Here's another one, and this is on theblaze.com. Nonprofit finds at least 45 Canadian churches have been burned and vandalized in recent weeks. Now, as a quick reminder, you really want to get on over to Restrictive Republic. I publish additional content here that you don't get on YouTube. And also I publish all the YouTube videos without any commercials. And Justice Night is there, and the both of us do live events. We try to do them as often as we can, but we do live stream events, Q&A sessions, so you can ask us personal questions about what's going on, and it's a really great feature that we have on Restrictive Republic. But get to Restrictive Republic today. Join it now, and use the code FOREVER60 to get it for $60 for life. I'm not going to put that code out there for much longer. But anyhow, there's so much happening in the world right now. Global chaos is literally breaking out from country to country to country. And I think the bottom line here is we're definitely headed into the end times spoken of in Bible prophecy. And by the way, I'm going to be at the Hear the Watchman conference. Check out the description box below for more information in San Diego, California, September 16th through the 19th. But that aside, I believe that we're really headed in that direction, not to mention the direction spoken of in the Bible of your international order, where I think that they need chaos to break out in order to implement some kind of global governance, if you were, some kind of global leadership. So anyhow, I'd love to get your thoughts, comments, and concerns on all of that. Thanks again for tuning in. And please don't forget to check out my partner. If you don't have a VPN, now is the time to get one at hidewithlisa.com. And what a VPN does is if you look at things on the internet or on your computer and you've got that VPN on, it basically acts as if you're on an entirely different computer. And the great news is, and why I only partner with Virtual Shield, is because they erase everything within 24 hours. So if the government knocks on their door, that information is gone. But check it out at hidewithlisa.com. And right now, the 50% off deal for life is back on. So check it out there. Anyhow, thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.